Hey guys, how are we? This is DeMarco. Today I'm going to show you on Shiba Inu how to properly trade a triangle break. It looks like we're developing a new pattern. That pattern looks like could be a symmetrical triangle, but I think it's just a triangle. Um, and this is probably going to break bull. So this would be like um, what I would plan on seeing as a bull break. That doesn't mean it's going to go up. Everything has a possibility of going either direction most of the times when it comes to these patterns. There's like a higher percentage of some things working out depending on the certain direction in which the pattern was entered. In other words, if it was entered from the bottom, there's statistics that say it can go up or down in certain ways, a continuation, blah, blah, blah. Okay, anyway, if you'll see back in October, this was when October and November had SHIB's huge run, right? And you can see all of the craziness in my charts. Because, yeah, I traded this a lot. I traded the living hell out of this. That was a consolidation box, fake outs, flagpoles, flags, triangles with breakouts. So I traded this for a while, and I did very well in October, November for SHIB. And the reason I'm showing you this older stuff is to show you that I love trading these patterns. I love trading the three main patterns you should know about, and that is going to be a triangle. It's a triangle, a wedge, and parallel tunnel. Okay, so there's three of them. What you're trying to do is you're trying to look for areas to contain price. Now, what do I mean by trying to contain price? Let me see if I can find a more helpful. What do I got? All right, so that's our triangle pattern, right? Now you can form a triangle in all sorts of different ways, and the idea is, let's get this guy over here. The idea is price enters the triangle, starts to form it, and then eventually exits the triangle. And what you want to do in this example for a long position is you want to set up, so it depends on what kind of trade your plan is. Okay, so there's four major types of trading. There is scalping, there is day trading, there is swing trading, and investing. Scalping can happen from seconds to minutes to hours to even a day. Day trading happens over days and weeks, can be months. Swing trading happens over weeks to months, and investing typically happens months to years. So it depends on what kind of trader you are and what kind of patterns you want to break. So let's just use this as an example. So let's say you've contained a triangle pattern. Now the reason that that I'm going over this one first, and I'm going to make it the most prominent, is because we're currently forming what seems to be, to me, a triangle. Okay? This is what I mean by you can find them in price, and you can find them all over. Okay, so this could be a flat bottom. Now, out of this right here, what you could have done is use this point here, this whole top, and you could have used this to short, and that looks like this. Now, I know most people don't short. I do all of my shorts on KuCoin futures. That's where I do my crypto perpetual futures. And the way that would look is you would place your order on the way out, set your stop loss back somewhere inside of the pattern. You do want candle confirmation. We're not going to go over that in this video though. But there you go. So that's what a short position would look like. And we're going to go over the one we currently have. So check it out. This to me is absolutely could be a potential triangle with a breakout. So what we want to do, and now of course if you miss this one, no big deal. Use this information for future trades. So what do we have? We have price entering and bouncing around the inside of the triangle. Okay, so now here's the first thing that I typically do. Now, since I trade so often, I'm trading, pretty much all day. I do this full time, right? So let's make this dashed because that's the one we don't expect to happen, but it's possible. So we prepare for it. So what I'm going to do is I set myself alarms, and I set those alarms based on where I think the breakout on both ends would be. So right now, price is here. This is where the actual pattern is here. So I want to be alerted just from where we're at now here. And we'll say here. Okay. And now again, what we want is we want to see if price breaks up and here and hits this alarm. That tells me that this is a breakout. Now, what can happen is price can go back in to the pattern. That would be called a fake out. And that's when you want to exit the trade. This is why we put our stop losses inside patterns. That's the best way to know that you're dealing with a fake out, not a breakout. And that's because price has re-entered the pattern. That usually means, get out of there. Now, what happens if it starts to break out again? Well, place your trade again. And if it doesn't work out, guess what? Cancel it. Kill it. That's what the beauty of stop losses. You got to be using stop losses, guys, unless you're investing or swing trading, okay, for the long haul. If you're not using stop losses, you could potentially lose money in a big way. So just be careful with that. So this is how the trade would look, okay, if we were placing it. And this, I'm probably going to trade this today. And what I'll do is I'll get alerted by my alarms because I have so many different things that I track all day. But this is what it's going to look like. I'll place the trade when I have what's called candle confirmation. Now, that might not happen until somewhere's up here, but the idea of the alarms is to tell me when that time could be. So the alarms mean that there's an opportunity. If I don't like the way the opportunity looks, then I won't trade it. So this is very important. The alarms aren't places that you place an order. No, the alarms are places that tell you that you now have the opportunity that there is a possible place for you to trade. That's what I use the alarms for. Now, we're pretty much going to do the opposite. If, let's say, price hits this alarm, I'm told, uh-oh, I better go look at what SHIB is doing. This is what it would look like. Okay. We'll get rid of this guy for now. So now you know how to do it the long way. So what you would do is the opposite if you're placing a short. You would wait until price exits, okay, exits the pattern. It's going to hit my alarm, and that's when it's going to say, hey, you better come take a look at this. This could be a potentially good trade. Again, that's what my alarms are for, right? So let's just do an example. If price decides that it wants to break, okay, you want to set up an order. Now, your order would be outside of the pattern. If it falls back in to the pattern, cancel the trade. That's where your stop loss would go. I suggest tight stop losses. And this way, you're only losing, let's just use the example of $100. If you have 100 and you have a tight stop loss, you might only lose $5, $10, $20. But you can have like a 2-to-1, 3-to-1, where you have the potential to make, who knows, 50, 75, 80. So you have to set up those chances where you're only willing to lose a little bit, but gain a lot. And that's what I typically do all day with futures. I gauge my risk. Gauging your risk is a big deal. So there it is, guys. I just wanted to show everybody how I trade my triangles. We're currently about to be in one right now. And you can trade this successfully just by following which way the break is going to be. Now, I think it's going to break up, but that's what the alarm is for, because I'm not 100% sure. So there you go. If it does break this, there's of course, all kinds of other things that we could discuss about where price would go and where good spots for where to place new orders and all that. That was in the old video, so you guys can check that out if you want. But there you go. The other thing I want to show you before I go, you know what? I have time, so I'm going to show you. So remember I said I have my top 3 favorite. Okay, so basically, I mean, I don't want to say it's all the same pattern because it's not, but all 3 have the same idea. So one of them is, and of course I could definitely probably do this better a different way. But, so let's say this is our containing area and this is what it looks like. Okay. Now, what you would do is you would then put, let's say you're still inside, all right? What you would do is you would place an alarm right at the top, and then you would place an alarm right at the bottom. This way you can go do other trades and not be bothered. This is how I'm able to do so many different trades during the day at once, is because I can wait until I hear an alarm and then I can be attracted to that. I can be alerted and let know that it's time for me to go and check that out. So this is how it looks if we're using a horizontal channel. Now, like I said, check it out, back in October, if we can get in through this mess. So do you see this massive consolidation tunnel here? Right? So as this grew, this was the top point, this was the bottom point. I put alarms right outside the bottom, right outside the top. Okay, so I know if price escapes the box, I need to pay attention. And of course, I did trade it. When this happened, I was actually in Orlando. I was actually at Universal Studios, and I got the alert, and I said, "I'm sorry, family, but I have to go trade." And so this was when I got alerted right here. Okay, so do you see how it's important that we contain price? We want to put price in a box. We want to put it in a triangle, or we want to put it in what's called a wedge. And this will be the last thing I show everybody for today. Now, of course, there's cups and handles, head and shoulders. There's all kinds of patterns. These 3, you can succeed. Now, the last one is going to be the middle version of this. Okay, so we go from here. This would be the final one. And now, what do I mean by that? So, the middle version is called a wedge. A wedge is halfway in between a horizontal parallel channel and a triangle. So it's a triangle that isn't closed yet, or it's a parallel horizontal channel that isn't fully open yet, however you want to see it. And again, let's say price comes from this direction, it starts to form. This one's pretty much the same deal as the triangle, and when you want to set your alarms outside the area of where price you think is going to bounce off of. So if we already have a track, you can continually move your alarm. So let's say, for instance, I know that price is hitting here, it's bouncing off, whatever. Well, what I can do is I can continually move it. I can move it as price eliminates older areas in the pattern. Does that make sense? So there you go. Those are the 3: triangle, wedge, parallel channel. There's, of course, tons of others, but with these 3, you can find them all over in the market. And the whole idea that we're trying to do is contain price. Contain price movement so that when price leaves the containment, you can trade it. And of course, like I said, if price does break out, right? If this were to break out here, I'd get an alarm and it would tell me. But and of course, I want to sell somewhere up here, for example. That would be considered a scalp. But let's say that price falls back down. Well, you want to have your stop loss, like I mentioned earlier. You want to have your stop loss inside of the pattern. And you can also move up your stop loss over time too. So if price gets up to a nice area you like, take that stop loss and you can change it. Now, you can do this typically on MetaTrader 5. They don't do Shiba Inu. They've got a bunch of coin, but not everything. And I don't think anyway, and I could be wrong. And KuCoin futures is where I do the majority of my leverage. Now, I don't recommend that for everybody unless you consider yourself a better than average trader. If you are a beginner, do not use it. It uses a leverage system, and that leverage system can liquidate your funds fast. So don't even try. If you are brand new, just don't even give it a shot because it's just not going to work out. Trust me. Scalping is very difficult. All right, guys, that's it. I hope that helped you guys learn a little bit more about patterns, and we'll see what happens for the rest of the day with SHIB. I've got my alarm set. Take care, guys. Live show tonight on YouTube, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. See you there.